Okay, so as you can see, this is the list of the paper presenters, starting with serial number 3, number 1, paper ID number 12, number 33, 39, 16, 35, 26. Please be ready with your presentations. Now I'll check the time to introduce Dr. Balasubramanian, who is the professor and head in the Department of Communication in MS University in Tirunelveli. Dr. Balasubramanian has 20 plus research expertise as well as 18 plus years in teaching expertise. I welcome you, sir. And hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Shall we start, sir?
Yes. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Okay. Paper ID serial number 3. Are you ready? Hello?
Amjad, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. And I thank the organizers of the 5th International Conference. I just thank Dr. Rajesh, Dr. Prabhakar, and all the colleagues who are present in the virtual conferences. It's an opportunity for me. And thanks for inviting me and also requesting to chair the session on media and politics. And I think as the report here, Amjad said, there are 6 or 7 papers in this session. And I would like to welcome all the paper presenters with a few initial quotes about Don Rather. Dan Rather is one of a leading journalist, and he used to say that every journalist or every media person should challenge the power, challenging the power, and he insists on questioning the authority. And I just wanted to quote him saying that the news is what the public needs to know. With someone somewhere and someone in power doesn't want to publicly know what the public should know. Then it means that the public are being denied of the information. The journalist should extract the information in which the publics were denied. And he says that the rest of the news are mostly propaganda and advertising. And with this quote, I just leave it to the participants, paper presenters, to present their papers so that we can clarify their doubts based on his presentation, either in between the session, in between the presentation, or at the end of the session.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Again, I call upon roll number 3, paper ID number 3. Paper ID number 3. Can you please start your presentation? Okay, it seems that paper ID number 3, she or he is not available with us today. Okay, paper ID number 1.
Yes, I am here.
Okay, you may proceed.
Sure. Thank you so much. The host has disabled participants' screen sharing is what I'm getting.
Now it's enabled. Try again.
Oh, all right. Okay, just a second.
I request the presenters first you briefly introduce yourself, where you're from, and what's your area of research.
Sure, sir. Sure. Is the screen visible?
Yes.
All right. Okay. A very good morning to the chairperson, the respected chairperson, and to all the participants who are here and all people who are looking at this presentation. My name is Yugyal Chiring Lama Yomo, and I am a research scholar in the Department of Mass Communication in Sikkim University. And today I'm going to present my, hello? Paper on, okay, sorry. Okay, my paper is on evolution of political awareness, political interest, and political participation among the youth with utilization of social media as a platform from 2014 to 2020-21. And this paper is a joint effort by myself and co-authored by my supervisor, Dr. Pooja Basnet from the Department of Mass Communication, Sikkim University. So the conceptual framework of this study was that the study is done to in order to understand and evaluate whether social media is an apt platform for like gathering political awareness and having our interest in politics, and is it a platform for participation and engagement among the youth. And this study intends to answer the question that does social media engagement impact political awareness, interest, and participation among the youth or not? And that was the research question posed by the study. And why do we need this study is because now it has always been said that the youth is the future of the nation, and as the youths are also after the age of 18, there are also electorates who can actually vote, who have the right to vote. So political awareness, interest, and participation of those electorates is very important for the democracy to thrive on. Okay, so that's why it was important for this study. The goal of the study was to examine whether social media engagement and political awareness, interest, and participation among the youth, and whether social media has an influence on or impact on them or not. So the research objectives posed by this study are that to examine the social media usage and engagement among the youth, and the study and social media engagement and political awareness and interest among the youth, and whether this social media engagement impacts or influences the social media engagement among the youth or not, and is social media a platform where people where the youth actually participate and engage for political communication. That was the research objectives. And on the theoretical frameworks that we based the study on were two theories, that was uses and gratification and agenda setting theory. Now uses and gratification provides a premise as to why people are utilizing, and if they're using social media, why they're doing it, and is it sufficing their is it providing gratification to them. And agenda setting theory also emphasizes on how media is telling the audience what to think about rather than what to think. So that was the framework. Now the methodology utilized for this study was a quantitative study, comparative between we had taken samples from the general elections in 2014, the general elections in 2019. And as the next general election is in 2024, we could not get that is still a future prospect for the study. But to be able to compare it, the thing is we took the state elections of West Bengal as a parameter and compared the three. It is a mixed longitudinal, and it has several cohorts instead of just having a longitudinal study where we had the same cohort as it was distributed from 2014 to 2020. We had several cohorts so that we take for our study. The method that we utilized was the survey method with online questionnaires that was self-report that were distributed and they reported back. The sampling that we utilized was simple random sampling. The sample size utilized for the study was 514, and the study was done in 2014 general elections, 2019 general elections, and West Bengal state elections 2021. It was a comparative analysis. The methodology utilized was comparative analysis. The research results that we actually found are actually on your screen. We actually saw that now all of us know since 2014 the accessibility to social media has increased a lot, and people are getting comfortable with social media, and even the convergence of technology has played a big role in this. Now, usage of social media for political purpose has decreased, had decreased in 2019, but it has increased again. The political interest, although the general political interest shows that it has decreased from 2014 to 19, but what we can see is when people, the level of interest, that is when very interested people, the percentage of very interested people in elections has increased over the years. Okay. And the respondents who actually voted in 2014 and in 2021 has increased drastically, is what we found out. And also the reliance on social media for political information, and also the gathering campaigns, and actually helping them to make a decision into vote or not to vote, or even whom to vote for, is something that has increased over the years. So yes, even it also decided the people as to whom to vote for, not only to vote or not to vote. So this was the result. So to discuss on what we got, that convergence, like I mentioned, of technology and media enable the accessibility to internet and social media, and it increased the comfort level in utilizing it. All right. And basically the mainstream media, that is the print, the radio and television, were mostly a one-way channel of information, and but social media and internet provided a two-way channel for communication, for political communication, which was instant and accessible for almost it's right now we can say it's almost accessible from anywhere, almost, because it has not reached the entire population, but it has increased over the years. The advent and development of technology, the utilization of particular social media platform for specific purpose began to blur. So that's why we can see that entertainment, infotainment, information, all these things are coming together. And the thing is, we are not able to distinguish between all these. It has become very difficult to point the specific purpose. Interest among the youth, politics, and especially election has risen considerably, and a common platform for all to interact. Now, social media has given people a common platform. Why we say common is because the politicians are also there, the celebrities are also there, and the common people are also there. And the thing is, what happens is, now it provides a place where actually people can follow, or they can actually friend, as in Facebook, you can have a politician or a celebrity as your friend, or people who follow you, they actually reply to you, and you can actually reply to their things. So hence it is a platform where people actually find a virtual bridging, which was a pre-existing gap previously, to actually be able to communicate what you want to say to a politician directly was almost close to impossible. But the social media has provided that a virtual bridge among the common people and the politicians and celebrities. And social media has definitely, that's why it has been said that there is an increase in engagement among the common people and uh, uh, the politicians, or the celebrities, political celebrities, or even political analysts, to be precise. So basically these were the findings of the study. And we actually found out that although it might not, we when not be able to say that there was a huge impact of social media, but with the results that we have found out, there is an influence and impact of social media on people. And as there were during our review of literature, we have seen that social media has played a big part. And researchers prior to me, or even simultaneous researchers, have also given social media a great importance, and hence it plays an important role on people's your political interests, political awareness, to be precise, political attitude in general. So that's the presentation. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you, Mr. Ugyal.
You
Yeah,
yell.
Ugyal. I just wanted to clarify
Yes, sir.
few things before I just open the forum for the online other audience participants.
Please,
I
sir.
just wanted to, I have noticed that you said about there is a specialized social media campaign being carried out in to create political awareness.
Yes, sir.
Have you witnessed any specific campaign during your study?
Yes, sir. We also we did studies on YouTube videos. One of them, to be very precise, is the one where Mr. Shama, the person, the first voter of India. There was a video which showed that even at the age of 80 plus, he still goes out, be it snow, be it rain, he still goes out and votes and practices his right to vote. He was the first voter of independent India, and even till now, in 2014, that is,
Okay.
he still goes out and vote. So it is a right to vote is it projected the idea that right to vote is something that no matter who you are, no matter where you are, it is something that you have to practice, and it is your right. So those kind of thing. And there was another by I've actually forgot the name of the company. They were did mute and unmute. It was a very interesting ad where actually there was a person who was complaining about the condition of the roads, or many things that was that is wrong with where he lives. But the thing was, he was not able to speak. He could only like talk through signs, and we could read it through the subtitles. And at the end, they pointed out that this is something that is a problem, but you cannot hear his voice because he did not vote. So if you vote, then it becomes unmute, and you can actually talk about the problems. So those are the campaigns to vote and not to vote. And there was again Achhe Din campaigns, which was like whom to vote for. So these were the campaigns we were looking at.
Well, the another thing is you made a comparative study because based on general election in 2014, and another one is on 2019 West
Yes,
Bengal.
sir. Yes, sir.
And you want to prove that the political awareness campaign, various social media campaign have increased the number of voters, or is the political parties,
Yes,
which now everyone has turned into the social networks, everyone launching on social spends. If you find the indexes of the expenditure of each and every political parties, it considerably increases their they capitalize more
sir.
on
Yes,
social
sir.
networks. Could
So
you bring
rather
some
than
insight?
prove that it plays, we just wanted to examine, like inspect, like what is the role being played throughout these years. And 2024 is another study that we will be doing it, because we are going to remove the state elections. We just did it for this study, but we are going to compare the three general elections and see if it has what to say, what is the we had to examine the trend, how it changed, or did it change, or did it not change. We just want to examine, sir. We don't want to prove anything as such, but we just want to see if what was the role that social media played, and how much of it is being utilized by the common users and the politicians and the political parties. So like you said, now the funding of social media campaigning has increased. Like even there are proofs that it has increased considerably over the years. So that is also something we'll take into account. So we'll just examine, we'll give the details, but we as per se, we are not going to prove that this is something, or we are just going to say in 2014 it was like this, 2019 it was like this, and 2024 will be like this.
Right, Utgal, and as you rightly pointed out, the theory how people are targeting the undecided voters. Huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. And I think every political actors, parties, or even the government who encourages and right to vote or any other interest group for that matter, they has to deal with the fundamentally changed this media and the communication outlets, because now it's all the digital which provides everything. Yes.
Very true, sir. Sir, very interesting. I think so. I forgot. I did not put it on present. It's there in the paper. Is the number of youth who actually voted before 2014 and after 2014 is huge. It was below 50% before 2014, and now it is above 70%.
Yes, yes, that was an interesting fact.
Yes,
And I just request Amjad, I just we can open the forum. If anyone want to clarify with Udgal on this political awareness paper, they can come up.
Can you come again, sir? I did not get you.
Amjad, if any of the online participants wants to interact with Udgal, they can come up or raise hands or something.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Can you help me over that, and or else we'll go for the next presenter.
Yes, I suggest we wait for 1 minute.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to add any comment, then they are welcome to give their inputs. Anybody from the participants or respected professors here want to add something?
Anyway, we will proceed, Amjad, and if any
Sure, sir.
comes in between, we will just have the privilege to inquire with Udgal, right?
sure. Yes.
Okay, and now I call upon paper number 12. Paper number 12. Hello, paper number 12. Yes, I can hear you, but your voice is feeble and it's breaking. Your voice is not audible. Can you please place yourself in a place where you can get proper coverage?
Amjad, by the time if the paper number 12 is getting ready, can we move on to next paper? So,
Yeah, sure, sure, sir. 1 second. Paper ID number 33. Hello, I call upon paper ID number 33. Can you hear me?
Hello, sir. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you,
Hello.
but not very much.
Hello. Sir, can you hear me now? Sir, can you hear me now, sir?
No, sorry. Actually, your voice is not audible.
Sir, can you hear me now, sir?
Now it's better.
Hello.
It's breaking again.
Sir, can you hear me, sir? Sir, can you hear me now, sir?
Yes, I can
No,
hear
it's
you,
better,
but your
sir.
voice is not okay. Please talk for like,
Sir,
yeah. Can
can I
you say
start,
something?
sir?
Yes, you can start.
Is it paper number 12 or 33?
Hello.
12, sir.
Okay. I request paper number 12. If any of your friends
Sir,
is,
can I start?
yeah, if any of your friends, paper number 12, if any of your friends are there in the room, okay, you can request them to switch off because I think it's overlapping.
Yes, paper ID number 12, I also suggest to present at last
Sir,
so that we
sir,
can
just,
work on your
sir,
problem meanwhile.
sir, Naren Kumar here, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes,
Naren Kumar,
your
paper number 12.
Yes, sir. I'm presenting it on my friend's laptop,
Yeah.
sir.
No problem.
okay, please.
Okay, sir. Now can you hear me, sir?
Yes, clear.
Okay, sir.
Naren, introduce yourself and
Yes.
you.
A very good morning to everyone present here. I'm Naren Kumar from the Periyar University Journalism and Mass Communication Department, and I'm here to present the paper on reflection of social reality influence, a comparative study of the movies Cooper's Mr. Deed Goes to Town and N.S.Krishnan's Nallathambi. And this is a paperwork authored by me and co-authored by my supervisor, research supervisor, Dr. Subramani sir, assistant professor of the Department of Journalism and Communication. So we all know that societies are not just made with any pre-planned intentions of planning. So societies are formed with people, they with varied behaviors towards one another, and thus there are various factors determining these behaviors. These factors depend upon the socio-economic and political situations, their culture, their traditions, etc. So social reality can be termed as an assemblage of social existence. So when it comes for film, I would like to quote this famous quote, which was said by Lenin during his journey of revolution. Of all arts, he believed that cinema is the most important for him because he guessed or he perceived cinema to be a very powerful medium of other compared to the other art forms. So film being a serious art form of narration, it tends to reflect the social reality over the decades. When it comes for social reflection in films, so these films of social reflection, actually they happen to reflect the people of the sphere of working class compared to the others. So my methodology for this paper is a critical discourse analysis as a conceptual framework. So I'm here to investigate the reflection of social realities in these film discourses. So I have chosen Mr. D Goes to Town and Nallathambi as my research samples, and they were selected through the purposive sampling method. So I'm carrying out a deconstructive study of the narratives of this film in a qualitative analysis method. So I'm going to sort of the reflection of these social realities in them. And my hypothesis, the two hypotheses of the paper are both the films considered that Mr. D Goes to Town and Nallathambi have a similar plot and a motive of reflecting their social realities during the Great Depression era. But on a comparative scale, the later film Nallathambi is found to be much more intensified in its motive. Why I have chosen the common factor in these two films found is these films, both these films seems to be an inspirational work. When it comes to Mr. Deed Goes to Town, which was released in 1936, this is an example of text to cinema. Why I'm saying it as text to cinema is this film by Frank Capra was inspired from a short story Opera had. And the later one, Nallathambi, was inspired from this film, Mr. Deed Goes to Sound. Both are a perfect example of an inspirational work. And in fact, in addition to Nallathambi, this is the debut screenplay work of Arindam. He has adopted the script to pioneer his Dravidian political journey. So I've considered five important scenes from both the movies to for the study, for which the first scene is the hero introduction. When it comes to Mr. D Goes to Town, actually both the films starts in a similar way, that a rich personality of the city passes away and he writes a will that one of his nephews from the faraway village has the legal rights to claim all his properties, and this property worth is something beyond the imagination of the people. So when it comes to Mr. D Goes to Town, the death episode of the rich person is made so simple, like a car goes rushing on a highway that rolls over a fence, and the rich personality passes away, and a flashing newspaper headlines ends the death episode. But when it comes to Tamil cinema, Nallathambi, it eats up almost 10 minutes of the play. There is a song, and the scene shows the zamindar. Zamindar here means the rich person of the society dying in his deathbed, and the Tamil version adds an additional point to the will that the zamindar will have a daughter, and the legal claim will have to marry the daughter. So the hero introduction of both these plays on comparing, Mr. Longfellow Deed is introduced as a tuba player of a village, and he is called as the postcard poet. The reason is he writes poems on postcards and send it to whoever asks him. And the additional factor is he's so helpful to the society that he volunteers the local fire engine crew. And the entire introduction of Longfellow Deed frames him as a very simple and innocent man. But when it comes to Nallathambi, as discussed earlier, the hero introduction itself seems to be more intensified, that Nallathambi is framed as a man of principles and man of ideologies. Though acting is not his passion, he volunteers the local traditional folk art troupe, which is called as Tirukuttu team. So he introduces himself, like he unveils his frame from a parai. Parai is a traditional Tamil instrument as a Katyangaran, a buffoon of the play, and he carries out a 15-minute long song, which turns to be a propaganda of Periyar's self-respect movement. And the song is nothing but Naattukku Oru Seidi Solla song, which is very famous song of the Tamil cinema. So which enlists a lot of things, like Anda Kalam Inda Kalam means that then and now. The song concludes that a new rule or a new government is going to be formed, which is going to be led by Periyar's self-respect movement. And again, the writers of the play has intensified the entire song for their political propaganda. So the next scene I have considered for the analysis is the city life. So when Longfellow Deeds enters the city life, he finds entire thing new there, and he wants us how to cope up with it, and he wonders what to do with the huge sum of money that his uncle has left for him. He actually finds something wrong with the system, but he don't know what to do it and how to sort it out. But the only controversial thing he does is, or a controversial change he brings to the society, or his using his powers, is he finds that a lot of sum from his uncle's share is being spent on an opera house for no reason. So he prevents a huge sum of money being lavishly spent on the opera house shows. So that is the only controversial change he brings during his early days of the city visit. But when Nallathambi comes, he, as discussed earlier, he seems to be a man of ideology. When he visits the Zamindar's palace, all his activities exhibit that he has some social responsibilities to be done. Like as soon as he enters, he get the key of the Gazana, or the money trunk, which is being maintained by the official clerk there, and he calls a small boy who is working as a servant there, and he says that this is an age for to study, so please don't encourage child labors, let him go to school. So he brings out a lot of changes as he portrays himself as a man of ideology. The most interesting scene found in Nallathambi is this rice rolling. When on his visit to the city, he jumps out of the train and he meets his friend Rani. Rani says that his father, who's a rich man, has ordered a lot of rice in his house, which he's keeping, which he's not even spending for the family or for the other. So what happens is, Frank rich man, and he makes him to feed the beggars of the city at free of cost. So again, earlier Anna has foreseen his political view through this scene. Like 1964 to 1967 was the rule under the Chief Minister Bhattavichalam. That is stated to be the dark period of the state's political history, where that period was the period where during which farmers were starving a lot. The incidence of eating rat was being very common throughout the state, and that is because of rice shortage, rice holding, which caused price hike, famine, hunger, etc. So through this scene or through this episode, another being the writer of the play, he expresses opposition against the rice holding and rice shortage. And there's something else very peculiar to be noted is in 1967 when Chief Minister when Annadurai advanced the Chief Minister's chair of the state, he worked hard to eradicate the rice holding, and he announced the scheme like 1 unit of rice for 1 rupee. So, like foreseeing his political view, he has used this film as an opportunity to express his political view. And the next factor is the social responsibility. Longfellow seems to be a very innocent man.
Balamurali. That he has network issue.
So can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So may I know
Yeah, can you please jump to the conclusion, because you need to adhere to your time limit, which is 7 minutes.
I have almost reached the conclusion, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Just let me share the screen. So yes, the most important factor is the last scene of each play, like the courtroom scene. Both of the protagonists were accused as they are a madman who's incapable of being the legal heir for their uncle's property. But Longfellow wisely deals the case, like pinpointing whatever madness he is being accused is very common amongst the people who's around, who's amongst the people around him. But when it comes to Nallathambi, again the scene seems to be a bit intensified. Like N.S.Krishnan quotes an episode of Kindanar Charitram. Kindanar Charitram is again a spoof material of Brahmanical sermon version called Nandanar Charitram. So Kada Kalashebam is a Brahmanical verse. So people have spoofed it to exhibit a life history of Kindan. Kindan is again an inspirational character of Dr. Bhimarao Ambedkar, a small boy from the suppressed class of the society, educates himself and becomes the most prominent icon of the society, and that is what the summary of the Kindanar Charitram. So the entire conclusion is, though Mr. D goes to town and N.S.Krishnan's Nallathambi seems to have the same intention reflecting their social realities, on a comparative scale, Nallathambi is found to be a little bit intensified on its intention. So both the writers, both N.S.Krishnan and Annadurai, are from the same self-respective movement, and they have used it as a tool or a propaganda for their political ideologies.
Thank you so much, Dr. Balasubramania. Do you have any comments?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Amjad, am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible.
Right. And Amjad, as the paper presenter, Mr. Balamurali. Balamurali, are you there? Yes, and he has given a comparative study between the two films. So one was
Sir, this paper was presented by Naren, sir.
sorry with the identity on the screen. And Naren, Mr. Naren, and your study on Mr. Beats goes to town and with Nallathambi was an excellent discourse analysis which you have made. And you, as we all know, that Mr. Deeds goes to town was an adaptation of the Great Depression.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and along with Nallathambi, which portrays about the state politics of Tamil Nadu.
Yes, sir.
And about this the plight of the farmers, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
both the thing, yes, both the film has a similar type of crisis in their own social identification, the social reality, as the paper presenter as mentioned, that it's a total assemblage of social existence, both in the period of during Great Depression or after that during the state politics, about the Tamil status of Tamil Nadu government during 1940s and 50s. And Nallathambi, we have two films with the title Nallathambi. The one original one which the scholar compared was in
1949, sir.
49, right. And people should not confuse with that later on there was another movie on
that was starring Prabhu, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And this is how the young scholars who are watching this presentation should compare compare the total social conditions between the two period of years. And with this, I request Naren. I request any other scholars who have any clarification on the presentation by Mr. Naren can come up and clarify. So Naren has did a discourse study between the two films. Mr. D goes to town and with Nallathambi. Amjad, if it is fine, I will move on to the next paper.
So next paper ID number 39. Are you ready? Hello. Paper ID roll number 39.
Hello.
Hello. Paper
hello.
ID roll number 39.
What about 33?
Okay, because he was not available previously. Okay, we can proceed. You can proceed. Okay, please adhere to the time limit. You have 7 minutes. You may start.
Okay.
Mr. Balamurali, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
there.
Can you share your screen?
Yeah, just a minute.
Hello.
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah, good morning to Nanda who is present here. My topic is digital media, outbreak of OTT video streaming platform during COVID-19 lockdown. Myself as Balamurali Krishna, PhD research scholar, Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, Periyar University, Salem. Under the guidance of Dr. S. Kumar, Professor and Head, Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, Periyar University, Salem. Introduction. Digitalization has been evolving rapidly for the past many years. The advancement of digital media technology revolution is changing the contemporary media world. Lots of over-the-top online streaming applications were popular in Western countries, but in India, it got the attention after the introduction of 4G telecommunication network in Kolkata in 2012. India has seen its own OTT platform called Bigflix, started by Reliance Entertainment in 2018. This is the first independent Indian OTT platform which has offered more than 2,000 movies and visual contents. Indian language including Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Gujarati, Marathi, Bhojpuri, Punjabi, and Bengali. Yeah, review of literature. Objectives of the studies: to identify the reach of OTT platform during COVID-19 lockdown, to find out the role of OTT platform among youth, to analyze the OTT platform create any cultural changes among youth. Hypothesis: OTT platform is reached well during COVID-19 lockdown. OTT platform is very effective entertainment medium among university students. OTT is a comfortable platform for moviegoers during COVID-19 lockdown. Methodology: the present research was conducted among the students studying various departments in Periyar University. 130 samples were taken randomly through random sampling. Quantitative study and survey method and analysis method was used. Theory used: uses and gratification theory and diffusion of innovation theories were used. Results: OTT users 71% of regular users and 29% of not using the OTT platform. In that, 60% of male and 39% of female students were using this OTT, and the age group 79% from 18 to 25 category and 20% from 26 to 35, and 36 is rarely using the OTT. Reach of OTT platform: 59% of people started watching after COVID-19 lockdown, and 40% were known the OTT before the COVID-19. So, OTT access: 48% have their own subscription, and 52% of them using with their friends account. OTT subscribers: 52% watching their favorite contents, and 25% of depend on their financial status, and 22% using OTT in regular basis. Sharing account detail about OTT: 55% of students sharing with their friends, and 27% of them using and sharing with their families, and 10% of them do not share the account with others. Recommending OTT brand: 50% of them recommending Netflix, and 46% Amazon Prime. 47% of them are recommending Hotstar. The Netflix and Amazon and Hotstar are very well used OTT platform in this, but after the 10% G5, sorry, 10% G5, 3% Sony Live, and 5% Sun Next and other OTT platforms. Reason for using OTT: 39% using for foreign content and regional content. 35% students were felt OTT is easy to access. 60% of them focused on the cost of brand. They're choosing OTT according to the cost. Favorite genre in OTT: 49% of them are comedy oriented content. They like to watch comedy oriented, and 30% action and horror and thriller they're choosing. Traditional versus OTT: 48% love OTT only because few ads. 42% comfortable time and binge watching. Now binge watching is very famous through the youngsters. The students 29% no censorship, and 12% based on the cost of a movie. OTT technology medium: 76% watching videos through their smartphones, and 30% of them using smart TVs for their comfortable watching, and 9% having personal computers, and 8% watching video through tablets. Encourage pirated OTT contents. Yeah, many of the youngsters are encouraging the pirated contents. 39% agreed to encourage the OTT, I mean pirated OTT contents, and 35% disagree to this statement. 25% agree to the statement about sometimes they watch movies through pirated thing. OTT in future, 29% tell that I am going to watch movies through OTT platform. 26% of the people saying that I'm not going to use the OTT in future. 44 says no idea, maybe in future like that. OTT with the status, 70% agreed OTT are very effective than the cinema theaters, and 41 agreed effective than theaters, and 34% answered less effective than the theaters. And 8% of the people are says no idea. Language in OTT content, 73% are choosing Tamil language, and 55% of the people are choosing English, Malayalam, and Telugu, Hindi, and Kannada. So prefer a content to watch. 38% of them choosing movies, and 36% of the people are choosing web series, and 14% of others are seeing shows like the Vijay TV and the shows that uploaded to the Hotstar, like that kind of shows are watching through OTT platforms. Yeah, through this study, the finding was the development of OTT users are majorly on the platform before COVID-19 lockdown. After COVID-19 lockdown, the users are increased by the closed theaters. Audience are focused on the language and the genre, which is depend on their interactive on knowledge based on their comfortable language. OTT platform is never replaced by the theatrical experience, as well as OTT is not fading out from the digital media. Future OTT is going to play a major role in society, and it create great opportunity for content filmmakers and upcoming new faces. Conclusion. The emergence of OTT would harm the use of traditional electronic media. Important future of OTT is impact on movies. The practicing to watch visual content on OTT during the COVID times. Moviegoers feel that OTT gives much more privacy than the theaters. OTT platform provide new and high quality content with unique concept, and the filming approaches are tested. OTT platform will have a great bright future with 5G service in India. Yeah, thank you. Hello.
Yes, sir. Balamurali?
Yes. Hi.
Yes.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Balamurali, your paper on OTT, it clearly shows that there is, in terms of the percentage, the age between 18 and 25, they prefer 79%, you have said. And
yes.
That is considered to be the highest.
Yes.
Having a OTT as your preferences, and your data should be unlimited, your network should be unlimited. I wonder how this age group, hardly going for undergraduation and to up to post graduation, it comes between 18 and 25 as a highest percentage of preferences of OTT. And can you tell me what's the reason between this huge percentage?
Sir, actually, sir, it's hearing, sir.
Yes.
Sir, today, many youngsters, mainly the age group between 18 to 25, they're watching more OTT platforms than other age groups. Why? Because today, a lot of youngsters are choosing like English content, Korean cinemas,
yes.
and that kind of movies. Mainly, they focus on the in OTT. When comparing to localized language, they're preferring more foreign contented things. So mainly the youngsters are viewing those content in Netflix and also.
So, Balamurali, your preferred platform in OTT is?
Sir?
What's your most preferred OTT platform?
Sir, not only one, sir. I have chosen first two things: Netflix, Amazon.
Yes, I have seen a higher percentage of Netflix in your study.
Yes,
And,
sir.
and can you tell me the reasons why it's preferred, whether it's the content or more the choices in a particular platform? Uh, what's the reason? Because I just
Sir,
wonder because
yeah, sir. Actually, sir, um, now only the OTT is booming in our country, sir. But in Netflix, in abroad countries and all, they have a lot of web series content in their platforms. So the youngsters are looking forward for the non-censorship things. So they want more content. So they choosing Netflix that have more web series like Friends and a lot of Money Heist. So a lot of web series are
yes,
they have been comparing to our OTT platforms. Now only it's
yes,
more web series are coming only, sir.
definitely
Yeah, sir.
people prefer more content, yes,
Yeah,
and
sir.
more choices between each and every platform, and that's why it's been clearly said that Netflix is most preferred by the
Yeah,
youngsters.
sir.
Right.
Yeah, sir. Yeah, sir.
Normally, Amjad, you can ask.
Okay, I received a communication. I received a communication that roll number 38 is not going to present.
Okay.
He's not available with us today. So back to roll number 3.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you so much.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
just
yeah.
I'll just share my screen.
Okay.
I can.
For your
Yeah,
kind information, you have a time limit of 7 minutes.
yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
First of all, I would like to express my thanks at being able to present a paper at such an August forum. It's a really professionally organized conference, and um, the topic for my the topic for presentation today is COVID-induced ad approaches becoming new normal norm. So first, I would like to talk about. I'm so sorry, my
Yes, I suggest to move to a quieter
yeah,
place.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just a
please mute
minute.
yourself and move to a quieter place, a more quiet place.
Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Arindam, you are not audible.
Can you hear me
Hello?
now? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So in this kind of it,
You can
so
start from the first.
okay. Thank you, sir. So let me begin. It is safe to say that the year 2020 was a year like no other in the history of modern civilization, and 2021 only became worse. These 2 years combined had left an indelible mark on the human psyche. Priorities changed, choices were radicalized, habits dropped and gained, and the perception about life in general underwent a sea change. As customers craned out their necks looking for different set of priorities that hovered around experience, affordability, planet, health, and society, advertisers now had to chart out a hitherto unknown journey into the hearts of these healing yet scarred hearts, that had a completely new outlook towards life. And this paper tried to map these changes in approach and the results it showed from the advertisers and how they tried to look at the society and approach differently in this new normal. The first result, and perhaps the biggest result of this, was the rise of the crib economy. To sum up, the crib economy, we can say the pandemic caught the world unprepared for the quarantines, lockdowns, strict sanitary and social restrictions that spawned in its wake. It mercilessly exposed structural weaknesses at all levels. It resulted in a fallout on people and their mindset. There are four major results. One, eroding brand loyalty. People no longer bothered what brand they wore or brought as long as it served their purpose. But what was important was hygiene and sustainability. So when I talk about sustainability, I mean they believed in brand that talked about healing the earth, that talked about decarbonization, that talked about recycling. They believed that they began trusting this brand or these products as products that would be good for them. Ascendancy of local economy. The local economy prospered. People no longer wanted to go to supermarkets to buy their products. If it was available if it was available locally, that they would be happy to get it from there. And finally, their increased faith in digitization. All of this together resulted in creating a unknown territory for advertisers. And advertisers and brand managers thought about building brands even in the midst of the psychological rubble that humanity found itself in. The strategists were busy taking down points on takeaways from the pandemic, the crumbs of positivity that could build upon when humanity was at its vulnerable tipping point. They were still looking for avenues to help companies grow faster, redefine their existence once they were able to handle COVID. Finding new ways and new strategies were crucial to the success for the brands in the months and years ahead. And here I've put together 7 points or 7 sectors, seven approaches that the brands have taken. I have tried to deal with it with quotes from very famous people, just to sink in that the visions that the advertisers have taken are universal. Knowing your customer segment. A quote by Abraham Lincoln where he says, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." Knowing the customer segment was the most important part. You had to sharpen your research on the customers before getting down into the market with a product. Today, it was no longer throwing a product on a broad-based target audience. Identify the niche audience, and target that niche audience built on that niche. So that's the first point. Race against the customer's last best experience. There is an African proverb. Every morning in Africa, a lion wakes up. It knows it must run faster than the slowest antelope or it will starve. It doesn't matter whether you are the lion or the antelope. When the sun comes up, you better be running. You better know what was the customer's best last experience, and you try to improve on that. Unless you are improving on that experience, there is a possibility that the customer would distance itself from you. 3, customers expect exactly what they want. Jody Picoult had said, there are 2 ways to be happy: improve your reality or lower your expectations. If a brand wanted to be successful in this market, either they had to improve their reality of performance, either they had to improve upon, or they had to be really delivering what they promised, or they had to lower their expectation and get out of the market. Because customers will not settle for anything less anymore. Building brand loyalty. It is perhaps the toughest job today in this changed atmosphere. I reward loyalty with loyalty and disloyalty with distance. I don't know whose quote it is. It's an unknown quote, but we in the advertising profession and teaching advertising, we often use it, because if you are loyal to your customers, if you are standing by your customer when the customer needs you, if you are providing the right solutions to the problems, if you are aggregating the kind of problems that is accumulated in your sector, and you are providing, and you're becoming the biggest solution provider, then you are successful. Relationship matters most is the next point. A man who chases 2 rabbits catches neither. A Chinese proverb. You cannot chase all people. You need to choose your rabbit, chase it, build a relationship with it, and then only will you get success. If you are looking at a huge demography and trying to tap all sort of people, you will not be successful anymore. Agility as a modern marketing tool. Someone like Bill Gates approves of it. Success today requires the agility and drive to constantly rethink, reinvigorate, react, and reinvent. Companies that have been able to build on their deficiencies have been able to turn around in this COVID and in this post-pandemic world are the brands that will succeed in future, are the brands that will go ahead and create a market for them. Brands behind great value. An ounce of practice is worth 1,000 words, Mahatma Gandhi had once said. So if you are professing some value, the brand better follow it. Unless you are following that value, people will not trust it. People will in all probability reject you. And finally, the right balance. A good relationship is about balance and chemistry, as Taylor Swift had said. Unless today we know that the thrust is on digitization and people are getting into data mining, they are looking at good clean data, they are putting the they are using the marketing silo, they are using digitization for the marketing silo. This overdrive for digitization often deals or results in poor content, poor message communication. So both of them needs to be evenly balanced out. Unless there is a potent message that is going out to the right kind of people who have been sorted out through your data mining, then there is a possibility that your data will reject you despite being the ones who need your services or product. To conclude, in 1956, Jim Reeves had sung a song where he said, "Welcome to my world. Won't you come on in? Miracles, I guess, still happen now and then. Step into my heart, leave your cares behind. Welcome to the world built with you in mind." Please note the last line. Welcome to my world built with you in mind. Human communication is perhaps what is going to help advertising survive in this post-COVID era, where the world they create has to be created with the customer and only the customer in mind, and ways and means to conquer their hearts. Unless and until that happens in a very simple, defined, and structured manner, using digitization, yet maintaining the human communication, advertising in this new world of new normal will not succeed. And I'm sure the advertisers are following it regularly. Thank you.
Arindam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'd like to know about you. What you are actually.
So I've been a journalist. I started my career in 1992 as a journalist, and I continue to be a journalist till 2009. 2009, I started my own brand and PR company called Comparative Communicate Private Limited, and it's still there. But I think academics was my calling. So in 2020, I resigned from the company. I left it to my partner, and I joined Sister Nivedita University as a teacher. So I've been following the industry very closely for the last 10, 11 years, and I still follow the industry. And whatever I've shared is a result of what I have seen personally and what I have understood personally about this industry as I have worked in it.
Oh, okay. Based on your personal experience and especially during the pandemic, right?
Absolutely, sir.
And Arvind, it's very nice to hear from this person from the industry who later turned into an academician.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, and it's, as you said, the curb economy, right?
Yes, sir. The curb economy. Yes, sir.
The economy has given rise to the local economy. In fact,
yes, sir.
It has changed the purchasing patterns, especially during the pandemic. You could see the digitalization of the market and the various.
Absolutely, sir.
Various what you call the channels, sales channels have arisen during the period. And as you rightly concluded with that, the investing on the customer loyalty is the utmost priority of any product to sell, right? Arvind, it's a good paper. It's good observation paper. And Amjad.
Yes, sir. We move on to the next presenter, Roll number 16.
Is there anybody want to comment on?
Oh, yes, of course.
You can. If anybody wants to clarify with what Arindam has presented, this paper on advertising. Okay then. Arindam, thank you.
Then,
Thank you so much, sir.
presenter number 16.
Yes.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
So am I screen visible now?
Yes. For your kind information, you have 7 minutes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you all the organizers for this lovely conference that you have organized from SRM. So my paper is about resisting the patriarchal dominance in the rural milieu and celluloid. I'm talking about or discussing about two important films of Assamese film industry, Agnisnan and Firingoti. So let me introduce myself. I'm Pranjal Medhi from the Department of Mass Communication, University of Technology and Applied Sciences in the Sultanate of Kumar. So from the very beginning, as you know, the Indian popular commercial film industry or the cinema, they situate women predominantly in a very stereotypical gender-specific role, which is largely domesticated and muted by the patriarchal structure of the traditional Indian society. So this reason for this stereotypical representation lies in the fact that the Indian commercial film industry, especially the Hindi film industry, is largely male-dominated in terms of industry hierarchy and also in the narrative structure as well. You know, all these trying to portray the women of Indian society as a mute entity or as a very subdued and subordinated entity by these filmmakers in the past, especially the commercial film industry. And additionally, the commercial cinema has been portraying women also as an object of desire and indicating strongly towards the notion of objectification of women and eroticism. So this objectification has been a subject of deliberation among scholars for a very long time, and especially in movies, women-centric movies also. If we talk about the women-centric movies, in the disguise of women-centric movies, explicit erotic content was produced and exhibited to the audience. So this takes forward the ideas of Laura Mulvey, and when in her visual pleasure and narrative cinema, she identifies this covophilia of the male spectator and the male gaze, as we all know. So the very famous paper of the book of Laura Mulvey. So this trend of stereotypical representation of women, Indian women, has passed on to the films of not only the Hindi film industry, but it has passed on to the Indian regional cinema as well. And however, this when we are talking about these two prominent filmmakers from Assam, Dr. Bhavendranath Saikia and Jahnu Barua, they have questioned this dominant patriarchy and exploitation through the strong female protagonist in their films. So although they have a number of movies, they have a number of movies which are women-centric, but now we are only taking discussion about only these two movies, Agnistan in 1985 and Firingoti in 1992. And this study tries to explore the erstwhile social status of the female protagonist in Assamese society and the representation of this protagonist on celluloid. So the study also looks into the significant ways of resisting and answering the orthodox customs, how they reply back to the oppressions caused by this patriarchal dominance in unique ways. Why this is important is both the films and their female protagonists, they resist the patriarchal dominance in very unique ways and very different ways. So let's get into the representation of women in Indian cinema. And you know, in 1935, it was pioneered by Jyoti Prasad Agarwala by the movie Joymoti, and which itself was a saga of a self-sacrificing wife and mother. So the Assamese popular cinema has to be portraying women in their conventional roles, the stereotypical roles of a mother or a wife or a self-sacrificing, you know, mother and love interest of the male protagonist. So mostly they are treated as a secondary subject, often as an obeying wife, caring mother, or love interest of the male protagonist. Now, when we look at some popular movies, commercial movies, if we can say so, Ajolinobo and Buari, these are believed to be women-centric films, but also these movies plays the protagonist in a very stereotypical domesticated role within the confinements of their homes, within their private sphere. So this expected and defined social role in women in the society, as represented largely in the Assamese popular cinema, has been molded by the male-dominated ideologies. Although it was subtle, but still this male-dominated, stereotypical, social expected role was always present in the representation of Assamese women in popular cinema. So now when we talk about these two filmmakers, stalwarts of Assamese filmmakers, Dr. Bhavendranath Soikia and Janu Barua, both of them has got several national awards for their films. So women-centered films of Dr. Saikia, the films which could be given importance in this regard are Agnisnan, Sandhya Rag, Kolahol, and Abartan. All of these movies had women, centered movies, and their protagonists had a very strong role. So all these movies tried to explore the social status of Assamese women belonging to different strata, and irrespective of the socioeconomic background, how they are subjected to the societal pressure and patriarchal domination. And when we talk about Jahnu Barua, and many of you must have heard his name before because he's a very, very famous filmmaker from India, internationally acclaimed. So his women-oriented films such as Aparupa, Papori, and Firingoti and Poki travel on various terrains of society and characters while trying to indicate the status of women in Indian society. So with these two films that we have selected by these two filmmakers, we're trying to establish, or we're trying to explore the social status they enjoyed and how they resisted the patriarchal dominance. So now when we compare Agnisnan and Firingoti and how they represent the female protagonist, both these films have narrative styles of considerable influence from Italian and Indian neorealism. Both the filmmakers have in considerable, very significant impact from neorealism. So both these films, Agnistan and Firingoti, have the backdrop of Assamese village life, which is usually perceived normally as a simple, cordial, and farming lifestyle. However, the traits of orthodox patriarchy and male domination is visible in certain aspects of the narrative in both the films. So this helps us to understand the social status of Assamese women during the colonial era of British Raj and the post-colonial phase as well, because both these films are placed during 1940s and 1960s. One, we can say pre-independence and the post-independence era. So it is also observed that these women in the Assamese society have a better position in terms of freedom and social status compared to the status of Indian women in collectively, because this can be, we can talk about the geographical location of Assam is influenced by the matrilineal society and subcultures. For example, in Meghalaya, in certain ways, they have a matrilineal culture, matriarchal society. So they have a better position compared to the erstwhile the condition of Indian women at the period. Both these films have placed during post-independence period of India, separated by a few years. Agnistan was separated in 1940s and 50s, while Firingoti was during 1960s, during the very tumultuous, troubled period of Chinese aggression, 1962, Indo-China War. The status of Indian women, including Assamese women during that era, was not free from these two important aspects: the colonial hangover and the patriarchal nature of the contemporary Indian society. So in Agnisnan, the ordeal, or we call it the film in English, the female protagonist Menoka has portrayed the stereotypical role of obeying wife and selfless mother of 4 children who is confined to her domestic duties. And the traits of stereotypical representation is visible, perhaps due to the era that we are talking about, 1940s and 1960s. So, and when we talk about Firingoti, the protagonist, Ritu, is an educated woman, but in a very comparable, socially accepted and expected stereotype role of wife, and later as a widow. So this status of widow in Indian conventional orthodox society is often that of an oppressed, exploited, or helpless one. So reflecting on the same orthodox Indian society of that era, in the beginning of Firingoti, the new widow, whose husband dies in an accident, Ritu is oppressed and verbally abused, mentally harassed by her in-laws. So although the orthodox harsh conditions and punishing norms were absent in Firingoti, The loneliness and struggle for livelihood is evident from the lives of widows. Two widows we have in this movie, Ritu and Tuni, who are separated by their class and education, yet connected by the spirit of fighting the odds. The protagonist in Feringoti, Ritu Barua, is a widow who, despite being educated, cannot muster enough courage to, in the beginning of the movie, to break the shackles of patriarchy and was mentally tortured. Now, the glimpse of good patriarch is visible in the fathers of Ritu Barua and the father's demeanor in her behavior, who commands her not to wear a conventional, a conservative, regressive white attire that the society imposes on a widow. So here we see a glimpse of good patriarch as mentioned by Messner. So here is the poster of Tirunelveli, okay, and in the lead role we have Molaya Goswami. So explicit and discreet, this is where the more important aspect of the film lies, the explicit and discreet ways of resisting patriarchal dominance. Both these films portrays the female protagonist ultimately as a liberated entity, fighting against the odds posed by the social society of that era. The emancipation showcased in these characters of Menoka in Agnistan and Ritu and Feringoti goes against the stereotypical representation of Indian women in the mainstream cinema, how they are placed. The story of Agnistan progresses when Menoka's rich and arrogant husband Mohikanto totally ignores her feelings and marries a poor young girl Kiran without the consent of the first wife. Now, her determination not to pardon her husband and for his infidelity takes the precedence of while making difficult decision of revenge and forms the backdrop of the resistance against patriarchal domination. And she adopts a method which is very unique but extremely effective, and it's very discreet. So what she does, Menoka, the lead protagonist, she starts an affair with another person, Madan, who is a village thief, and she gets pregnant. And when Mohikanta, the husband, finds about it and she confronts her, she bravely states that she will never disclose the name of the child's father. So the wife, the protagonist Menoka, argues that if she has to accept and love the expected child of Kiran, the second wife of Mohikanta, is expected by the society, then he should also be ready to accept Menoka's child fathered by someone else. This kind of a revenge puts Mohikanta in such a dilemma that he cannot go public about it because of the social respect that he has and the social status he enjoys in the rural society. This covert, unique and surreal revenge of Menoka questions the patriarchal dominance and expectation from women in Indian society. So it was a very covert kind of a revenge or resistance that she displayed. Now, when we talk about the next film, Tirunelveli, protagonist Ritu Barua, as I said, she takes up this, job of a teacher, and she distinguishes herself as an independent woman, okay, comes out of the cocoon to start a new life. So the oppression and psychological torture is clear indication of the patriarchal dominance. Even later, when she starts her school in a very remote village and she is threatened and physically assaulted by some goons and some for personal reasons, this disrespectful demeanor and threatening and physical assault is a clear evidence of the male domination and oppression caused by patriarchal dominance. The exploitation and atrocities meted out on women folk in every society raises a serious question on their position and existence. Now, as an act of self-defense and resistance, she draws a traditional knife and screams at the ruffians to leave her alone when they visit her school and threatens her. Now, the scene summarizes the theme of the film, where the exploited and harassed protagonist reacts suddenly with a spark. The meaning of the word Feringoti, the film, is a spark. It's a spark of anger, disappointment, and self-defense, which also signifies the relevance of the film's title. This is again evident from two scenes where Ritu is physically assaulted and her school, which she built with the help of the villagers, is burned down by these village ruffians. So Ritu fails to douse the fire. Despite her futile attempts, she breaks down, looking at the destruction of her school, which she constructed with a lot of difficulties. She is anguished and infuriated at the same time and exclaims that she would take revenge on Chandra for his misdeed, the village goons. So in these two films that we discussion and resistance that we have seen, resistance against the patriarchal dominance is explicit, very, very overt in Feringoti and very, very discreet in Agnistan. Ritu reacts sharply to the dominance and speaks out loudly, while Menoka takes revenge discreetly for her husband's infidelity. Hence, the resistance shown in both narratives are not only realistic, but also refute the melodramatic and larger-than-life Hindi commercial formula-driven revenge dramas, which we are normally we are used to, like Khun Bhari Mang and Army and Insaf Ka Taraju. All these are revenge dramas, but they are over-dramatic, melodramatic, and larger-than-life. So, emancipation in these and women empowerment that we notice in these two films is that in the beginning, both the characters are socially accepted stereotype roles, okay, and they keep on conforming to the demands of the society and their families, okay, in an orthodox society where women was expected to remain in the inner world or a private sphere. Both the films break out of it in their unusual ways. So in Firingoti, despite remaining within the society, defined jobs and related to feminine nature, Ritu was able to break away from private life by two ways. By taking up a job, it challenges the patriarchy. By moving to a very remote place, moves to a public spheres from her private life as a widow. Now, early reflection of determination and self-reliance is visible in the beginning of the movie itself, when she embarks on a new journey to a distant, unknown village to impart education, to start a new school. Now, the interesting point is both the characters were played by the same actress, Maloya Goswami. Both the female protagonists in N.S.Krishnan and Firingoti were played by the same. And for her excellent performance in the role of Ritu, Maloya Goswami bagged the Best Actress Award in the 39th National Film Awards in India in 1992. So, in conclusion, we can say that both the narrative situates women in a socially defined stereotypical roles, and these domesticated roles in terms of events rise and resist against the patriarchal dominance and exploitation. Both the protagonists, Ritu and Menoka, finds their overt and covert way of resistance against the dominant patriarchy. Now, along with the aspect of revenge, the display of women's empowerment and emancipation is also observed in these two narratives. The representation of Ritu can be linked to nation-building process, as she is imparting education in a very remote place and starts a school. From open-air school, she builds a school. Moreover, in Firingoti, the protagonist is able to break out of her private life, taking up a job and stepping into a public life. Now, these two directors and their films are found to be influenced by neorealist style of filmmaking, basically influenced by Italian neorealism of De Sica. So, where the choice of characters, dialogues, location, and costumes are close to reality, taking a very different path, from larger-than-life this commercial cinema. Now, both these films, Krishnan and Firingoti, are not only defy the stereotypical representation of women as an exploited and suppressed muted entity, but also finds the unique ways to resist the oppressive patriarchy, despite being within the confinements of the orthodox Indian rural society. So thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
Mr. Prinjal, thank you for the presentation. You almost narrated the story of two films, and it was a long presentation. Anyway, we are running out short of time, but your presentation was good and though elaborate. But both the films which you mentioned, that it has shown the emancipation of women in the eastern part of India, and we have a similar related presentation in elsewhere, especially you mentioned about the influence of Italian neorealism by De Sica, right? Thank you for Pranjal and Amjad.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any questions?
Amjad.
Yes, sir. If anybody has a question, they are welcome to. Okay, so we proceed with number 35, Mr. Sriram.
Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I'll share my screen now.
Sriram, introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Sriram from Dwaradas Govindas Vaishnav College, Assistant Professor at PG Department of Journalism and Communication. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to present my paper over here. My paper is it comes under the domain of developmental communication or health communication, indirectly related to this forum. Anyway, thank you for giving me this opportunity to present my work here. In spite of being this work not directly related to this forum, let me share my screen. Can you see the screen, sir? Are my slides visible to you, sir?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I'll start. So my topic here is the role of education level as moderator and health management information system adoption among healthcare professionals in the Tirunelveli sub-region. And the healthcare professionals belong to the EACC hospital in that Tirunelveli sub-region comprising Kanyakumari, Thoothukudi and the Tirunelveli district. So health management information system, it's an emerging technology. It makes things easy for the healthcare professionals so that they can go on with their day-to-day activities in the healthcare environment. And very good internet network is very important for the proper functioning of this health management information system. Adoption of this technology would greatly benefit the healthcare professionals so that it would reduce the usage of time spent by them in manual work. So education plays an important role. Here I have used two variables. One is independent variables for the undergraduation level and post-graduation level in medical sciences. The healthcare professionals are bifurcated based on the education levels, and the entire study is based on the technology acceptance model given by Davis 1989. So here's the methodology. So data were collected in the EACC healthcare professionals comprising 3 districts in the Tirunelveli sub-region, which are Tirunelveli, Thoothukudi and Kanyakumari districts. And totally 171 healthcare professionals were used in this study, and they were randomly selected. A simple random sampling, which is a probability sampling method, has been used in this study. And the statistical tool used here is the t-test, which helps to measure the difference between the means of two groups, which are either directly and indirectly related. It's a quantitative study. And here's the data analysis. And I've started by coming up with the null hypothesis. The null hypothesis states there is no significant difference among EACC healthcare professionals on the basis of the education and adopting health management information system. Now I'm going to test this null hypothesis by using the statistical tool, which is the t-test here. So here I have performed the t-test, and the t-value and the respective p-value I've given here. This is the results of t-test for respondents based on the education, and how it influences the adoption level can be studied by making use of this t-test. So here the p-values are found to be less than 0.01, and hence the null hypothesis can be rejected at 1% level. So the dimensions with regard to system quality, computer self-efficacy, filtrating conditions, perceived usefulness, perceived ease of use, perceived behavioral control, attitude, subject norm, and behavioral intention, and they all greatly influence the adoption process among the healthcare professionals in the EACC environment. Further, there is a significant difference between bachelor degree completed healthcare professionals and master degree completed healthcare professionals when it comes to studying the adoption process. And there is also a significant difference, which means the system quality, computer self-efficacy, filtrating conditions, perceived usefulness, perceived ease of use, perceived behavioral control, attitude, subject norm, behavioral intention. All these factors related to the bachelor degree healthcare professionals are found to have a greater influence on the adoption process when compared to the master degree completed healthcare professionals. And in the discussion part, I'll reason out why this kind of a result has been attained from the study. So results. So based on the mean score, here I have come up with the results. So bachelor degree completed healthcare professionals are better in understanding the system quality of the healthcare professionals, and the mean scores has been mentioned. The respective mean scores have been mentioned in the result in each and every point. Again, the computer self-efficacy of the bachelor degree healthcare professionals are better when compared with the master degree healthcare professionals who are comparatively a little older when you compare them with the bachelor degree healthcare professionals. Then the facilitating condition, the bachelor degree professionals feel that the facilitating conditions provided by the healthcare EACC healthcare environment is better, and they can easily use it. and they have a better understanding of the facility conditions provided by the healthcare professional, and that's what the bachelor degree healthcare professionals say. Overall, if you see, the bachelor degree healthcare professionals have a better understanding of the facility conditions provided by the ACC healthcare environment when compared with the master degree healthcare professionals. Then the user friendliness of the HMIS software has been better acknowledged by the bachelor degree healthcare professionals when compared with the master degree completed healthcare professionals in the ACC environment. Then the perceived behavioral control and the way they adapt the healthcare professionals, that the amount of understanding with regard to the adoption of healthcare professional has been seen more in the bachelor degree completed EACC healthcare professionals. That is, they have a better understanding of the system usage, and their attitude towards using the HMIS software is far more high when compared with that is for the bachelor degree completed healthcare professionals. They have a better attitude, they have a positive attitude towards HMIS usage when compared with the master degree completed healthcare professionals. Then finally, peer pressure also has an influence when it comes to any system usage. Here, bachelor degree holders are better influenced by their peers and their social groups when compared with the master degree completed healthcare professionals. So why are the bachelor degree healthcare professionals have a better understanding or better adoption when compared to the master degree completed healthcare professional in the very same environment? That is because the bachelor degree healthcare professionals are all most of the bachelor degree holders in the ACC environment are supposed to be youngsters. They have good formal computer education during the schooling days itself, and further they update themselves when it comes to usage of apps, because they frequently use these mobile apps in their day-to-day usage, and because of that they are very well versed in using the HMI software, and they easily got adapted to it. But when you see the master degree completed healthcare professionals, they are mostly a little older. So further, during those days they did not have much formal education regarding computer usage in their schooling days, and that's why they lag a little when it comes to adopting the HMIS software. So one important recommendation would be whenever certain any hesitation regarding the HMIS adoption process should be immediately reported by the master degree completed healthcare professionals, because they are only lagging in the adoption process. That kind of a setup should be provided by the hospital, EACC hospital environment. So that is one of the main reasons for the bachelor degree completed healthcare professionals to be better in adopting the HMIS when compared with the master degree completed healthcare professionals. With regard to improving the adoption skills of the master degree completed healthcare professional in the EACC environment, what can be done is the EACC healthcare environment can provide proper mechanisms for listening to their proper arrangements for listening to their hesitations or listening to their difficulties with regard to the HMIS adoption, and proper training should also be given to them by the IT team, which makes a visit to the hospital on a regular basis. All these arrangements should be done by the EACC healthcare environment, so that there will be a proper balance between the master degree completed healthcare professionals and bachelor degree completed healthcare professionals with regard to the adoption process. And similarly, a balanced way of adoption process would take place in the entire hospital environment in the EACC healthcare environment. Conclusion. So for a country like India, a better healthcare environment is always needed, so that it would lead to the upliftment of the health status of the general population. So naturally, when the people are healthy, there are very great number of chances for the India to become a developed nation in the near future. That's how I conclude. These are the important references. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Sriram.
Yeah.
You did your study in Tirunelveli, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Both
It was my PhD study.
Both Tirunelveli, Thuthukudi, and even
Kanyakumari. It's called the Tirunelveli sub-region, comprising 3 districts.
Okay. It's technically called a sub-region, or you have named the word sub-region?
No. The main hospital is in Tirunelveli. Headquarters of the Tirunelveli sub-region, it's the Tirunelveli district, because the main hospital is situated in the Tirunelveli district. In other areas, we have dispensaries.
Dispensaries. Yes, I understand. And you have disproved the knowledge gap theory?
Yeah. Okay.
Am I right? Because you have disproved the knowledge gap theory. It states that better education gives you better knowledge.
Yeah, yeah, and again, age factor also influences the your skill.
So
Skill
all
level.
your findings where the bachelor's degree people performed well in terms of using the technology, adapting to the technology. That
Yeah,
is,
yes, sir.
it's an app. It's an app health management information system. HMIS, right? It's about it's application, right?
Yeah, it is applicable. It is applied in the hospital environment, but but the finding which I found out during my survey days, during my PhD days, was the problem here is there was a problem in the internet connectivity. So on paper everything is going on properly, but if you go there and see in the hospital environment after 11 o'clock there will be a server breakdown, which is called a pan India problem. So the problem there is after 11 o'clock they are just doing the manual work.
Oh.
So after 5 o'clock, the server, it speeds up. So what they do is after 5 o'clock, the doctor gives all the manual work to the head nurse, and he or she again feeds all the data onto the software. But actually, they say it is a successful process, but there are practical difficulties for which the server speed should be checked. So that is the practical difficulty which I found out. On paper, it is a fantastic project, but actually they are doing double work over there. This HMI software is supposed to minimize the work.
Because the training, the lacknized training, right?
Yeah.
Lacknized training, and you have to, as a researcher, you have to find out whether I just doubt because whether the ESI, comes that directly to the state government or a central government or a separate entity in a state government, and if that is sorted out, that is clarified, then you as a researcher you can find there is something fundamental process in which there is a disparity in all the among these state missionary, especially in the medical sector.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
All the best, Sriram. You are doing PhD?
No, I have completed my PhD. Now I am an assistant professor at DG Vaishnav College.
Yes.
Thank
all the best, Sriram. All the best, Sriram.
Thank you.
Amjad?
Yes, sir. If nobody has a comment, I suggest we proceed with the final paper. Okay, paper ID number 36.
Hello.
Yes.
I'm here.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. I will share my PPT.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Is it visible?
Yes, yes, it's visible.
Okay. Morning to everyone. Hello. Hello. I'm audible. Hello.
Yes, carry on.
Okay, sir. Good morning, sir. My paper is the coverage of Vanarapete Shaheen Bagh protest in Daily Tandi. Sorry, I introduced myself. Sorry. I am Mabudi doing PhD in University of Madras, Journalism Department. My guidance by Dr. Kalavadi. My objectives is to analyze the tone of news headlines, particularly in anti-CAA protests, to analyze the usage of words in the news, to examine how the news content handled by the media, to examine the news about the Muslims and media portray any protest in the negative way. My research methodologies, I have taken the Lodgers Read Daily of Tamil Nadu, Daily Tandi dated from 14 to 2020, 18 to 2020 for my research in the 33 days paper. This research uses content analysis research method to get the result. Content analysis is the suitable method for this study because it is charged with the producing result that are replicable and can be generalized to the entire sample. Citizenship Act. Citizenship Act by birth, by descent, by registration, by naturalization, and by incorporation of a territory. Citizenship Amendment. This act has been amended twice, that is by the Citizenship Amendment Act 1986 and the Citizenship Amendment Act 1992. The Citizen Amendment Act members of Hindu, Sikh, Buddhist, Jain, Parsi, and Christian communities who have come from Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan till December 31, 2014, facing religious persecution, sir, will not be treated as illegal immigrants but given Indian citizenship. The Citizens Amendment Act was passed by the Parliament of India on December 11, 2019. Muslim women and many other people in India were contesting this act on the ground that it provides citizenship status on the religious basis. The Shahinbag side optimized the longest site in intergenerational protests in India since independence. Especially novel about this protest was the presence and leadership of the first-time Muslim women protesters. Shahinbag also inspired other sites across the country. One other protest, thousands had gathered in the world Washerman Pet on 14 to 2020 to protest against the CAA. However, after police actions against the protesters, including dedication and lathi charge, the crowd continued the protest. A tent was placed in the huge process, declared it as a Chennai Shahinbag. This protest held from 14 to 18/3/2020 from Muslim women protest against CAA, and many of the women and children were participated substantially. The terms used in the Tandi newspapers. தமிழ்ல சொன்னா நல்லா இருக்கும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். முஸ்லிம் அமைப்பினர் போராட்டம், முஸ்லிம் பெண்கள் போராட்டம், முஸ்லிம் போராட்டத்தில் போலீசார் லேசான தடியடி, தமிழகம் முழுவதும் முஸ்லிம்கள் மற்றும் போராட்டம், முஸ்லிம் போராட்டக்காரர்கள் ஆத்திரத்துடன் பதிலுக்கு கற்களை வீசினர், பிளேடாலும் அறுத்தனர் அப்படின்னு, போக்குவரத்துகள் பாதிப்பு, பொதுமக்கள் பாதிப்படைந்தனர், முஸ்லிம்கள் இதுதான் எனக்கு இன்னும் நான் இந்த தந்தி பேப்பர் மட்டும் எடுக்க காரணம் வந்து இந்த ஒரு நியூஸ் மட்டும்தான் காரணம் நினைக்கிறேன். ஏன்னா முஸ்லிம்கள் ரத்ததானம் கொடுக்க வந்தபோது முகாம் நிறுத்தப்பட்டதால் பரபரப்பு, அந்த பரபரப்பு அப்படிங்கறது தான் இங்க நான் மென்ஷன் பண்ணி சொல்லணும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். இதெல்லாம் ஹெட்லைன்ஸ் நியூஸ் பேப்பர்ஸ்ல வந்த அந்த டேட்குள்ள வந்த ஹெட்லைன்ஸ் இதை நான் சொல்லிட்டேன். ஒன்லி 4 எடிட்டோரியல்ஸ் இது தினத்தந்தில வந்தது. 4மே இன்னுமே அந்த அமெண்ட்மெண்ட் வந்தது சரியா தப்பா, அது முஸ்லிம் ஒரு குறிப்பிட்ட மக்களுக்கு சாதகம் பாதகமா என்பதை எதுவும் டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணவே இல்லை. ஏன்னா ஒரு எடிட்டோரியல்ங்கிறது அதோட அந்த நிறுவனத்தினோட பெர்செப்ஷன் சொல்லக்கூடிய ஒரு பகுதி தான் அது. ஆனா அந்த இடத்துல அதை பத்தின எந்த ஒரு இது சொல்லவே இல்லை அப்படிங்கிறது, அது வந்து மக்களோட கருத்தாக இருக்கிறது அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரியான ஒரு டேர்மை மட்டுமே அவங்க யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தாங்க. My conclusions. The Daily Tandi reported the news spreading hatred against Muslims and Muslim women by using words like agitators, protesters, Muslims, women, and Onapete protest was only reported daily news. இந்த நியூஸஸ் வர்றதுக்கு பக்கத்திலே ஒரு நியூஸ் வச்சுனா, போராட்டத்தில் ஈடுபட்ட மக்கள் சிஏக்கு எதிராக I did that. I'm going to my conclusion. Sorry. The Daily Tandi reported the news spreading hatred against Muslims and Muslim women by using words like agitators, protesters, Muslim women, and Onapete protest was only reported daily news. By the finding, the research result says that the daily newspaper was biased, regarded violence against Muslims and represented the Muslims as agitators. This is my reference. Thank you.
Yes.
I finished my presentation. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
You are doing research, right?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Maybe I just wanted to ask, you have done your work on Dinatandi.
Sir.
I just wanted to know, is there any similar in the Mari daily newspaper, either Angilam any Tamil news daily? Comparative ஏதாவது நீங்க பார்த்திருக்கீங்களா அப்படின்ட்டு.
ஆமாங்க சார், நான் தமிழ் வந்து
You
தினத்தந்தி
always used அந்த இதுக்கு வந்து பார்த்திருக்கீங்க, முஸ்லிம் விமன், முஸ்லிம் இது எக்ஸ்ட்ரீமிஸ்ட் அந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்கள் தந்தி பேப்பர்ல மட்டும்தான் உங்களுக்கு யூ ஹேவ் ஐடென்டிஃபைடா இல்ல மற்ற இடத்துல நீங்க வந்து?
இல்ல சார், இல்ல தந்தி பேப்பர்ல மட்டும்தான் இல்ல, தினமலர்ல நான் ஒரு 2 பேப்பர் தான் மட்டும். ஏன்னா ஹெட்லைன்ஸா எனக்கு குறிப்பா எனக்கு அதை தினத்தந்தி மட்டும் எடுக்கணும்னு தோணுச்சு. இங்க ப்ரொட்டஸ்ட் ஈடுபட்டவங்க முகாமுக்கு வந்ததுனால பரபரப்பு ஏற்படுத்தி முகாமே நிறுத்திட்டாங்க அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி டைட்டில்ஸ். முழுக்க முழுக்க போராட்டம், இந்த ஷாஹின்பாக் அந்த வண்ணாரப்பேட்டையில் நடந்த போராட்டத்தை மற்ற பத்திரிகைகள் வந்து வண்ணாரப்பேட்டை போராட்டம், வண்ணாரப்பேட்டை பொதுமக்கள் போராட்டம், சிஏக்கு எதிரான போராட்டம் அப்படிங்கிற மட்டும் ஹெட்லைன்ஸ் வச்சாங்க. ஆனா தினத்தந்தி மட்டுமே ஸ்டார்டிங்ல இருந்து எண்டிங் வரையுமே நீங்க நியூஸ் பேப்பர் பாத்தீங்கன்னா அந்த 33 நாள் நடந்த ப்ரொட்டஸ்ட்கான நியூஸ் பேப்பர்ஸ் நம்ம கலெக்ட் பண்ணியிருந்தோம்னா முஸ்லிம்கள் போராட்டம், முஸ்லிம்கள் போராட்டம், முஸ்லிம்கள் போராட்டம், முஸ்லிம் அமைப்பினர் மட்டுமே அந்த போராட்டத்தை நடத்தின மாதிரியான ஒரு பொது ஒரு கருத்தை வந்து மக்கள்கிட்ட கொண்டு போய் சேர்த்துட்டோம் அப்படிங்கிறத ஒரு கருத்து இருந்ததுனால தான் நான் தினத்தந்தி மட்டுமே எடுத்தேன். ஆனா அது ஃபுல்லா அப்படியாதான் இருந்தது தினத்தந்தி பேப்பர்ல.
ஓகே, that was interesting finding. வார்த்தைகளை வச்சு பண்ணி டிஸ்கோர்ஸ் அனாலிசிஸ் மாதிரி பண்ணிருக்கீங்க.
ஆமாங்க, கண்டென்ட் அனாலிசிஸ்.
I wish you can also compare with
ஓகே சார். அது
தமிழ்
ஓகே
கம்பேர் பண்ணிட்டு
பண்ணிருக்கலாம்.
பண்ணலாம்.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thanks for the suggestion, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Amjad.
Yes, sir. This candidate was the last presenter for our session today. I request you, sir, to conclude this session.
Okay. Amjad, I have almost
yes, tell me, sir.
List of papers went to almost 7 or 8.
Yes.
Of course, we couldn't make it with a similar type of the theme which we have planned. But anyway, it was quite interesting that the paper started with Udgal from I think from the eastern part, and another paper from Naren. The two studies were from the film. One from Naren and another from Punjab, Assami movie, and that was quite interesting. And there's another paper regarding OTT in this session, about OTT and the streaming platform during lockdown. And the last paper was again from Madras University scholar on the coverage of the 1 hour protest in Dinathanthi. And on the whole, it's a wonderful combination of themes by the 7 or 8 paper presenters for this first session of the conference with the annual online conferences. And I thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to chair the session, and I wish all the paper presenters best wishes in their research. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for being with us today. And I kindly request the presenters for tomorrow's session to submit your papers, your PPTs, if not submitted yet. Also, I kindly request you to check your network connectivity in advance so that we avoid any delay. Also, I request you to be on time in terms of presenting your papers and stick to the time limit given to you. And of course, for any queries, do not hesitate to contact us. All the best, and see you tomorrow.
ஒரு இது பண்றதுக்கு